the intensity picks up, and then you go a lot harder for the ball, and that is when you can injure. But at the level that we play at, if you move correctly and you coach properly, you don't often see injuries. But obviously the beginner players, they don't know how to lunge for a ball or to stop before they hit the wall. I mean, I saw a guy break his collarbone because he just couldn't stop when he hit the ball. He just carried on running and hit the wall, you know. So it's I think if you learn the game properly, injuries, and obviously warming up, stretching, you know, it's very important. I was watching the Egyptians yesterday, and it's something we're all guilty of on our side anyway. These guys that play pro squash, after they had a 45-minute game of squash, they spent another 45 minutes stretching beforehand. You know, so you know if you stretch and warm up properly, you can avoid these injuries and you can increase the longevity of your career. It's a great pickup by David Groenewald. I almost thought Leeuw had hit the winner there, but that was a great fetch, and he's back into this rally. And Leeuw seems to have picked up the intensity for this round. And let's see if he can carry on with this. Oh, well done, Leeuw. That was actually a very good rally from both players. Scores are 1-1.
Stephen speaks about rallies. They call the point system is actually called a rally scoring system in squash as well. So if you win the rally, then you get the point.
That's correct, yeah. So Damien won that point, and that takes his score to 2-1. So mistakes like that sometimes come in when a player relaxes, when he realizes he's quite far ahead of his opponent. You know, he probably wouldn't have made it hit the tin like that if he was playing against a much stronger player. Then you tend to relax, but you can see Leeuw's face there. He doesn't know what to do. I mean, that was just a phenomenal drop shot. Oh, there you go. I think Leeuw said, what you can do, I can do with that one.
Yeah, so it was 2 each, and then Groenewald pulled ahead with the one shot, and now it's 3-all.
Sending Leeuw the wrong way again. And that's the problem. If you're not going to keep it tight at this level, when you play those loose shots, these guys are going to finish it and put you away. And that's exactly what he did. He didn't get the ball close enough to the sidewall, and Damien could just wait and see what Leeuw was going to do, and he sent him running in the wrong direction. This time round, for his 5th point, he hits the ball into the nick, ball rolls out, and that's what these pros do, is they can hit these nicks on a regular basis.
So the chase gets harder now with 6-3. Is the lead now for the South African. Groenewald stretching the advantage now. Let's see if Van Rooyen can fight back.
It almost seems like Leeuw van Rooyen's given up. Balls that I'm used to him chasing and fetching, picking up. I think he's realized he's met his match. Maybe he's just decided to save some energy, because obviously if he loses this match, he goes down to the men's A division, and there he's got another 5 matches waiting for him. And he's also part of the national team that's got to play in the cup next month, or next week, sorry. So you know he's got another 3 matches coming up there. So 8 matches, 9 matches for him in 3 days, or in a couple of days is a big ask. So, but let's see. Leeuw's now 4-7 down. Once again, sending Leeuw in the wrong way, sending him the wrong way. Puts it down the middle, and Damien's under no pressure, and he just puts it away every time. He hasn't missed any of those opportunities today, and it just shows you what a class act is, and what a great match, what a great amount of excitement we can all be. You know, we can all be very excited about the matches that he's going to be playing later on in this tournament.
8-5, so yes, we indeed are seeing a fight back from Van Rooyen here in the 3rd set. Now, Stephen, you said it's like chess. I would just very shortly like to say it's also like good music, you know. There's a fast tempo, and then it's slowed down a bit, and that's how you catch out each other.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the more you can outthink your play, it's not about hitting the ball as hard as you can. Think about where your opponent is. Think about how tired your opponent is. You know, when he's tired, you don't necessarily need to speed it up, because if you slow it down and make sure he's able to fetch the ball, then he'll go for it and keep going for it and keep going for it and just wear his legs out more and more and more. And with that point, Damien Groenewald takes the match 11-5. wins the match 3-love, 11-3, 11-2, and the third set 11-5. That match took probably just about 20 minutes.
So the first two matches here, first one, both of them won in straight sets. Ashraf from Egypt beating Namibia's Lambert. That was in the ladies' professional division of this competition. And now it's Groenewald from South Africa beating Van Rooyen, also in straight sets. And up next, it'll probably a little bit wild due to the warm-up. Up next will be again a ladies' match. Mena Valit against Danae van Zyl, the youngster, only 16 years old. We'll be back in a short while to bring you the third match here live on NTV.
NAMRAD strives to provide the best radiological care. We keep up to date with new technology, and with our state-of-the-art department, all radiology services are provided at one convenient location. You can find them at Lady Pohamba Private Hospital, corner of Frankie Fredericks and Umbika Street, Kleine Cooper, Windhoek.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends. 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, You've taken the first step. Grow for it with Stamino Grow. 5-in-1 supplement available at all leading pharmacies.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. It is wonderful to see this many people here. It's a big crowd, and for us, it's a great honor to have the first ever PSA tournament in Namibia.
I mean, it's a huge, huge tournament. We have the likes of the wonderful teams that we all know all the way from Egypt. How stiff or how tight do you see the competition that we have going on here today based off the players that came in?
Well, it's anyone's game. Our number one seed on the ladies' side won the Joburg Open last week, so she's fresh from a good win there. On the men's side, there's a lot of stiff competition. A lot of the guys have played each other, but there's a lot of unknown factors as well.
Okay, like you just said, the number one ranked, she is here. How good is it for Namibia to have to be exposed to athletes of that caliber? Like, I mean, number one, it's not easy to be in that sport, and to be here around Namibians, how good is it for us?
For us, this is huge. For the Namibian squash, this is something we've dreamed of literally since independence to have a professional tournament in Namibia, and finally it's come true. So it's really huge. It's going to be big for our squash players, for our own players, and for the development of the game in total.
Well, the Egypt ambassador of Namibia is here with us. Just tell us, how long are we going to be here for the viewers that are watching from home? Where can they come tune in and all of that?
Well, we'll be live on air until Saturday evening when the finals will be. For those who want to come and watch in person, it's at Wanderers in Pioneers Park. There will be squash every morning from at least 7 or 8 in the morning up until, I think, Friday night until 8, Saturday until about 6 o'clock. But brilliant squash, brilliant action, and love to see everyone here.
Brilliant squash, brilliant action. We'd love to see everyone here. Well, that's the word from the Vice President himself. Do stay tuned. There's more squash coming your way.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends. 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
Okay, well, we are joined by Van Rooyen. Van Rooyen, a match, well match played against Groeneval. Just tell me, how tough was that match against someone who's in the top 5 in South Africa?
Well, you know, it was a really tough game. You know, the skill level of the South Africans and all of the international players here during this tournament is unmatched. You know, these guys have awesome exposure to play against international opponents, and it's a real treat, and it's an eye-opener as to what levels can be achieved in squash. But nonetheless, I gave it my best. Felt it was a good game, got a good sweat going. And then, yeah, looking forward to the rest of the matches of the tournament.
Well, we could see everyone enjoyed the match. We could hear the standing ovation that came from the match. But just it's our first PSA. It's our first huge sports event in squash. How important is it, do you think, for us to have events like this in Namibia? I mean, with the likes of the first ranked lady, I heard she's here, and all of that exposure for Namibia. How good is it?
Well, Namibia can't get enough of this kind of squash. It's the first PSA Professional Squash Association tournament that we're hosting here, sanctioned by the PSA. It's a phenomenal achievement to have the body of squash, of world squash, come and host tournaments, attract international players. I mean, majority of the draw is made up of international players, not even local Namibians. So it just shows you the strength that the squash has, the brand has all over the world.
Well, you yourself, I'm sure you still have a few matches left, but just run me through it. How tough is it to play against these international guys or the guys from South Africa?
Well, to give you a little bit of perspective, the South African Squash Association hosts about 150 tournaments a year. The Namibian Squash Association hosts 10. So in any given time in South Africa, there's 3 tournaments happening over a weekend. So the amount of game time, you can see the way they perform on court. They just have much more game time and much more court exposure against a much bigger variety of squash players. In Namibia, we have a top 10 that's unbeaten. Everybody can beat anybody in the top 10, and that's the players that we have to play against here locally. So it is absolutely important to have these international tournaments here, but even having Namibians travel to go play international tournaments somewhere else.
Okay, well, Van Ryan, thank you for your time, and good luck with the next games.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Well, you guys should stay tuned. We still have a few more interviews coming your way.
NAMRAD strives to provide the best radiological care. We keep up to date with new technology, and with our state-of-the-art department, all radiology services are provided at one convenient location. You can find them at Lady Pahamba Private Hospital, corner of Frankie Fredericks and Umbika Street, Kleine Cooper, Windhoek.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you, it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, you've taken the first step. Grow for it with Stamino Grow. 5-in-1 supplement available at all leading pharmacies.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends, 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
NAMRAD strives to provide the best radiological care. We keep up to date with new technology, and with our state-of-the-art department, all radiology services are provided at one convenient location. You can find them at Lady Pohamba Private Hospital, corner of Frankie Fredericks and Umbika Street, Kleiner Cooper, Windhoek.
It is wonderful to see this many people here. It's a big crowd, and for us it's a great honor to have the first ever PSA tournament in Namibia.
I mean, it's a huge tournament. We have the likes of the wonderful teams that we all know all the way from Egypt. How stiff or how tight do you see the competition that we have going on here today based off the players that came in?
Well, it's anyone's game. Our number one seed on the ladies' side won the Joburg Open last week, so she's fresh from a good win there. On the men's side, there's a lot of stiff competition. A lot of the guys have played each other, but there's a lot of unknown factors as well.
Okay, like you just said, the number one ranked, she is here. How good is it for Namibia to have to be exposed to athletes of that caliber? Like, I mean, number one, it's not easy to be in that sport, and to be here around Namibians, how good is it for us?
For us, this is huge. For the Namibian squash, this is something we've dreamed of literally since independence, to have a professional tournament in Namibia, and finally it's come true. So it's really huge. It's going to be big for our squash players, for our own players, and for the development of the game in total.
Well, the Egypt ambassador of Namibia is here with us. Just tell us, how long are we going to be here for the viewers that are watching from home? Where can they come tune in and all of that?
Well, we'll be live on air until Saturday evening when the finals will be. For those who want to come and watch in person, it's at Wanderers in Pioneers Park. There will be squash every morning from at least 7 or 8 in the morning up until I think Friday night until 8, Saturday until about 6 o'clock. But brilliant squash, brilliant action, and love to see everyone here.
Brilliant squash, brilliant action. We'd love to see everyone here. Well, that's the word from the Vice President himself. Do stay tuned. There's more squash coming your way. match, well match played against Groeneval. Just tell me, how tough was that match against someone who's in the top 5 in South Africa?
Well, it was a really tough game. The skill level of the South Africans and all of the international players here during this tournament is unmatched. These guys have awesome exposure to play against international opponents, and it's a real treat, and it's an eye-opener as to what levels can be achieved in squash. But nonetheless, I gave it my best. Felt it was a good game, got a good sweat going. And then, looking forward to the rest of the matches to the tournament.
Well, we could see everyone enjoyed the match. We could hear the standing ovation that came from the match. But just it's our first PSA. It's our first huge sports event in squash. How important is it, do you think, for us to have events like this in Namibia? I mean, with the likes of the first ranked lady, I heard she's here, and all of that exposure for Namibia. How good is it?
Well, Namibia can't get enough of this kind of squash. It's the first PSA Professional Squash Association tournament that we're hosting here, sanctioned by the PSA. It's a phenomenal achievement to have the body of squash, of world squash, come and host tournaments, attract international players. I mean, majority of the draw is made up of international players, not even local Namibians. So it just shows you the strength that the squash has, the brand has all over the world.
Well, you yourself, I'm sure you still have a few matches left, but just run me through it. How tough is it to play against these international guys or the guys from South Africa?
Well, to give you a little bit of perspective, the South African Squash Association hosts about 150 tournaments a year. The Namibian Squash Association hosts 10. So in any given time in South Africa, there's 3 tournaments happening over a weekend. So the amount of game time, you can see the way they perform on court. They just have much more game time and much more court exposure against a much bigger variety of squash players. In Namibia, we have a top 10 that's unbeaten. Everybody can beat anybody in the top 10, and that's the players that we have to play against here locally. So it is absolutely important to have these international tournaments here, but even having Namibians travel to go play international tournaments somewhere else.
Okay, well, Van Ryan, thank you for your time, and good luck with the next.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, you've taken the first step. Grow for it with Stamino Grow. 5-in-1 supplement available at all leading pharmacies.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood. and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends, 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Welcome back to the BDO Namibian Squash Open Championship for 2023. We'll shortly be bringing you another match in the professional association level of this competition, and that is the ladies. Mena Valit from Egypt will be playing Danae van Zyl from South Africa. She's playing for South Africa now, but she honed her skill in Namibia. And yes, she was 15 years old when she became the Namibian champion. So, Stephen, that is quite an accomplishment, I think, for any young athlete.
Yeah, Donnie, look, her family moved to Namibia when she was, I think she was about 11 when they moved here, or 10 years old when they moved here. Her mom was a great provincial squash player back in South Africa, and her aunt, I believe, was also a top 10 or top 20 in the world at one stage. So she comes from a family of great sporting background. Her father was a Transvaal rugby player and Transvaal cricket player back in the day. So they come with a lot of sporting experience, and it's just a lot of talent in the family. Her younger brother was one of the best cricket players in Namibia as well when he was living. I think he was born here, or the youngest one was. So yeah, but back to Danae, she's really blossomed here. Max Njala worked really hard with her in her time in Namibia. She won numerous tournaments, and then last year she moved back to South Africa to start training with her aunt and a couple of other coaches and just get a lot more exposure. As we've discussed with the previous matches, you can see the difference in exposure that the South Africans and players from the bigger countries are getting compared to us here in Namibia. But she came to the Namibian Open. No Namibian has ever won the Namibian Open before. So I guess she's as close to it as we'll ever get. But she's also the youngest winner of the Namibian Open trophy that we've ever had. And I mean, the Namibian Open's been around for many years, and we've seen some brilliant squash players that have taken part here. But she does have her work cut out now. She's obviously, with the PSA, has attracted a lot more international players. And because of that, she's now seeded 16th in this tournament instead of number 1, And now she's getting she's got the raw deal of playing her first match against the number 1 seed of the tournament. So yeah, look, it's gonna be a tough one, but you'll see in this game. Danae, I think, might still be a step or two. It might be a step too far for her in this game, but I think you'll see in this match that she's also a girl with a lot of potential and a great future in the game of squash ahead of her.
And also, I guess, because of our proximity to South Africa, we over the years have seen a lot of South Africans coming to compete in Windhoek. Just for the viewers, the defending Open champion in Namibia is also from South Africa in the men's competition. That's Dewald van Niekerk. Unfortunately, he cannot take part this week due to other commitments. But so we're going to see a new champion crowned in any case. Definitely.
Look, Dewald, had he been here, would have probably still been the number 1 seed, I would expect, in the tournament. He's just an absolutely class actor. Now that he's playing his squash overseas, he's getting coached by Nick Matthews up in England, who used to be a world number 1. So Dewald squash, I think last year this time he was about 180 in the world. He's very nearly 100 in the world at the moment, if he hasn't passed that. So, he would have probably been number 1, although the number 1 current seed in this tournament from Egypt is also a phenomenal squash player. But yeah, we will, to answer your question, we'll definitely have a new winner this year. But there's a lot of competition. I mean, the top players from Nigeria are here. The number 2 seed in the tournament is Nigeria's number 1, who's playing against Namibia's number 1 next, Max Njala. We've got Kenya's number 1 is taking part. We've got top Zambians. So, it's a lot of top players from all their respective countries. Look, we're in for some thrilling squash over the next 4 days. I really, really can't wait.
Okay, you've seen the toss there. Our scoreboard is also up, so we're waiting for the first ball of this match to be played. Walid playing Van Sail. And before they come on, yes, squash won't be at 2024's Olympic Games, but it seems they postponed the decision, Stephen, also about the 28 Olympic Games, where squash is still on the list. But apparently in the recommendation they were left out again, but there's a final decision still to be made. So I guess it seems, as far as I could read up, there hasn't been a final decision. So I guess all squash players in the world are still holding thumbs. And yeah, that's some of the international happenings in this very exciting sport. So like we said, Danae van Sail now from South Africa playing Mena Walid. She's first ranked also for this competition. The Egyptian listed first there on our scoreboard. And we are off, Stephen.
Yeah, well, I think that looked like a bit of a nervous start there, because Mena Walid returned it with a very loose ball and Danae hit it straight into the tin. So I think that's a bit of nerves and jitters that she needs to shake off. I'm not too sure how many times she's played against a player of this caliber, but you can see her shots are clean, her shots are crisp. She's definitely a step up, and her squash has really improved since she moved down to South Africa, and she's grown up, she's grown stronger, and you can really see there that was really not a bad rally to start off with. That takes the score up to 2-love to Mena Walid.
Not up.
That was
3-love.
A bit of a loose mistake by Danae. That's 3-love.
Ja, dat lijkt zo, nee.
Another tin. I think the jitters are getting to her because
4-love.
these aren't the mistakes we normally see Danae making. Let's hope she can overcome them and get into the game and show everyone what she's really made of.
The scoreboard, like in our previous 2 matches that we brought to you on NTV, is ticking over very quickly.
And there you could see the quality of Mena Walid with that shot. I mean, it wasn't a bad shot by Danae, but Mena Walid got there and she just showed, listen, put that right into the front corner, ball's not coming out of it, rolls out, and Danae could do nothing about that.
So it's now 6-love, 6-0 in the favor of Walid. She needs another 5.
There we go, Danae's off the mark with a great cross court.
And out 1-6.
I think that's like in any sport, if you can just get on the board, you can gain momentum from that, Stephen.
100%. And now that Mena Walid's given her a few points there, and obviously squash is a very big momentum game. Once you lose your momentum, it's very difficult to get it back. I've had numerous games where I was up
3-6,
10-3 or 9-4, and the momentum's with me, and all of a sudden my opponent gets that momentum back, and then it becomes a challenge. So you've got to make sure you don't lose focus and you keep that momentum. Because when you lose it, it can become very difficult to come back, especially against a player of Mena Walid's quality.
Oh, you almost got there, but not
like
quite
that
enough.
ball pretty much rolled out of the corner there. Very difficult to return those balls. Great wide cross court there by Mena Walid, making sure the second bounce died in the corner there.
Well, Stephen, also in this sport, your concentration must be absolute, maybe more than in many other sport codes.
Yes. I mean, everything happens so quickly in a game of squash. You don't exactly have time to take a water break in the middle of a game like you would in rugby and, reset, and the captain talks to you and tells you what you're doing wrong. you got to keep your own focus, and it's all up to you. Your coach can help you out in between games, but while you're on court, it's you and you alone. And if your focus isn't 100%,
and out 9-4,
then you're in trouble. And Menna Walid's running away with this at the moment. She's really showing that she's the dominant player with a lot more experience, a lot more exposure to top level squash. But Danae's not throwing name away at this stage. I know she's 5-9 down. To me, it just looks like she just needs that little bit more exposure and experience at the top level. And I think in a year or two, I mean, remember, that's a stroke ball, which means she was obstructing her opponent, and Menna Walid gets the point there, and that takes the score to 10-5 game ball to Menna Walid.
Now 1 point away from winning the first set here now, the lady from Egypt.
Game to Walid.
Game to Menna Walid.
11-5. First set goes to Menna Walid from Egypt. And yes, one couldn't also in the first set see that really longer rallies got going.
Yeah, and again, it brings me back to my point in the previous match where obviously in the first round of these tournaments, that's where you see the strongest player. Menna Walid is the number 1 seed in the tournament, but I mean, she's also a well-known player on the world PSA circuit. I'm not quite sure what her world ranking is. We'll have to find that out just now, but she's a world-class player. Danae is 17 years old. She's just basically come through the ranks in South Africa, winning junior tournaments. She has been one of the top in Africa during the junior years, but this is the first time she's getting the opportunity to play against this level of players. I think she played in the Worlds, or there was a huge tournament that she played and represented South Africa in overseas somewhere a few months ago. And also she did struggle, but that's where you learn. If you don't play those matches and those tournaments, you're not going to get the exposure. So I think, by the time she reaches 23, 24, I think she'll reach her peak and everyone will say, wow, this girl's brilliant. So she's still young. She's got a lot of learning to do, and she will learn. She's keen to learn. She loves learning from anyone every day. She could play against you tomorrow and learn something from you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but I think that will be a complete whitewash. I won't even get onto court. So second set now.
It's 1 game to love.
It's about to get underway here in this PSA Ladies playoff match. It's the first day of the BDO Namibian Open. And remember, all the way until Saturday, they are playing. Please come and support our Namibian players and come and view the talents of the visitors from various other countries that will be on display there. And a while ago, you saw a gentleman here on the stand with a nice big draft, so you can also come along and get yourself a nice cold beer, if that's your preference. And yes, that was almost a obstruction there.
That was a stroke. They sort of ran into each other, and obviously the ball came out of the corner of the front wall, and Danae couldn't really get out of the way of that. So it's a bit unfortunate. But I think if I saw Danae speaking to Maxine Jala, Namibia's number 1, during the break there. He was her coach when she still lived in Namibia, giving her a bit of advice. And I'm pretty sure he was just telling her, listen, get back to the basics, slow her down. She's, there was nothing difficult about the serve that she just received, and she's hitting them into the tin. So I think she just needs to get her head back in it, slow her down, get her length right, and then take it from there. Because right now, there we go. That's a great shot. Got her opponent behind her, stuck behind her, and she put up a great shot up front there. So let's see if she can get some momentum back into this game.
Now let's see if Danae van Zyl can add to that 1 point here in the second set. But Stephen, what was also nice a while ago, I took a walk here in front of the stands, and South Africa's Damian Groenewald, we had a very good match. We were talking to local younger players, exchanging his recipe for success, and that's also an opportunity by having the foreign players here.
100%, and I mean that's part of being a sportsman. Once you become a role model, it's very important that you respect that role. You can't. No one wants you to become that world-class sportsman and become that arrogant person. So it's always important to give back and teach the up and coming, help them get to, teach them, share your knowledge. And that's, I think, why so many people still rate someone like a Roger Federer as the greatest sportsman around.
2-7.
Forever, because of, you know, Djokovic and Nadal might have overtaken him with regards to trophies won and that kind of stuff. But his humbleness and the way he would give back is what stands out, and that's what he'll be remembered for, you know. So it's very important for sportsmen and women to do that kind of stuff and give back when they're not on the field or on the court.
Okay, Stephen's scoring here says 8-1 currently in the favor of the Egyptian. So our scoreboard probably that 1 point. There we go. Thanks for our technical team for correcting that.
That was a much better rally there by Danae. She kept her patience, and that's where it becomes like a game of cat and mouse or a game of chess, where you've got to show that patience. Wait for your opponent to make the mistake.
8-2.
Previously, her opponent was playing a loose shot or a normal shot, nothing great, and she try and be too aggressive. You know, she can just be patient. She's fit enough. She's young enough to keep up with these players. Just keep your head and make sure the rally keeps going. You see. There for a change, Mena Walid, made the mistake.
Yeah,
and everyone's human. Everyone will make that mistake at some stage.
It's 9-2, the servers there, with Danae van Sail playing in the white and blue.
Great shot there by Danae.
4-8.
Takes the score to 3-9.
So, yes, we'll just check our score with the referee upstairs to make sure we've got it correct. Just give us a moment or two to do that.
(10-4) game ball.
Okay, then it's game ball now.
Game to Walid.
That's fine, it's game anyway.
You good?
It was 11-6. That was the winning margin in the second set. Again, going, it's now 2-love in favor of Egypt's Mena Walid in the lead with 2 sets. Last one, 11-6. First one, Danae van Sail scored 5 points. As you said, Stephen, the rally's improving a bit. Danae got 1 additional point at least on the board. And we'll have to see. Previously, you said, it can sometimes happen that, if you're on the front foot in the third set, players start to relax a bit. And often that may provide an opportunity for the player who's behind on the scoreboard to make some inroads and at least get a setback, pull a setback.
Yeah, definitely. Look,
Miss Walid leads 2 games.
When it comes to Egyptian squash, these guys are so professional in what they do. They give you absolutely nothing.
Walid to serve, level.
They've been taught from a very young age to keep it as professional as possible and not to give their opponents anything. So I can't see Mena Walid relaxing at all here. I think she's going to be as ruthless as possible, preserve her body for the upcoming matches. So if she lets up and relaxes and tries to give Danae a bit more of a game, she might make things a bit more difficult for herself by fatiguing her body for the rest of the tournament. So I'm sure she wants to finish this as quickly as possible as she goes into a 2-love lead there.
And Walid makes it look easy to play squash, which is of course something you can only achieve after years and hours of hard practice.
Now, a person must remember that squash is the national sport in Egypt.
Line out 1-2.
They've got thousands of players up there. They've got courts everywhere. If you take the top 10 men in the world, last time I checked the rankings, 6 of the top 10 came from Egypt. And exactly the same with the women. 6 of the top 10 ladies come from Egypt. I don't know if that's changed at all, but that was the last time I checked. But that's the general consensus of
3-2.
world squash is the Egyptians just dominate everything.
So Denay van Zyl actually for the first time there in the lead according to the referee. It's upstairs.
It was an exceptional drop shot there by Menno Walid. She knew that Denay was behind her, and if she wanted to fetch that drop up front in the backhand corner, she would have to move around her. It's an extra 2 or 3 paces, and on a squash court, 2 or 3 paces makes a world of difference.
Walid serving there, getting the ball into the corner again. That is definitely a call for a let.
I don't know if that'll be a let. Denay was following the ball, but I think the ball was already passed there, so I don't know if she could have actually got there to win the point.
5-3.
Yeah, it looks like the ref said no let, and points to winner Menno Walid, and she takes the lead to 5-3. Let's make it 6-3 there. She plays a perfect length into the backcourt. Ball doesn't bounce, and Denay can't get behind it to get it back to the front wall.
Now it's tricky when that ball falls in the corner or is hit in the corner. Now, of course, if you're too far away, even if you're close enough, it's often impossible to return.
7-3.
The score moves up to 7-3. And obviously, as a professional player, one of the things that these guys do, and we saw that with Damien today, where he was actually targeting the corners of the court. In squash terminology, we call that aiming for the nick. So the ball hits the nick and it rolls out, doesn't bounce. And obviously, there's nothing your opponent can do about those. But when you watch these guys, when we had the World Juniors here a few years ago, we watched the guys practicing, and they hit nicks at will. You know, you practice this day in, day out. We saw Damien doing that against Liuhu, and we've seen Menno Walid doing this a few times now as well, as she moves up to 9-3.
So she's 2 points away from winning the second set. But there's a point pulled back now by Denay van Zyl. Keeping it long.
5-9.
Denay gets a nice opportunity there. She's serving on the left side for a change. And, you could see that the moment she saw what the serve was doing, she wound up and she aimed for that nick, and the ball just rolled out. Brilliant return.
So it's set and match point now for Walid from Egypt.
Walid wins 3 games to
love. All she wrote.
11-5.
It's a good effort there by Denay. She got some good points there, but obviously Menno Walid leads apart, and ultimately too strong for Denay then.
Straight sets, but like Stephen Berry commentating with me explained, these players, if they get knocked out, they can move down to the A-level competition and play further for the rest of the competition, and still something to compete for.
100%. So Denay should do quite well down in the ladies A division. I think at least semi-final place for her. But yeah, let's see. I'm very excited to see how the tournament goes for her.
So up next, before we take a break, up next will be Max Njala. He's Namibia's #1, and he'll be playing Keinde Temitope from Nigeria. So that'll be a good match to watch. The previous men's match we brought you were the 11th and 6th seeds playing each other. So the second seed much closer to the top. So you can expect brilliant squash here at the BDO Namibian Open Championship. NTV will be back with you shortly.
NAMRAD strives to provide the best radiological care. We keep up to date with new technology, and with our state-of-the-art department, all radiology services are provided at one convenient location. You can find them at Lady Pohamba Private Hospital, corner of Frankie Fredericks and Umbika Street, Kleine Kuppe, Windhoek.
Well, we are joined by Mena here. Mena, just tell us quickly, how tough was the game today?
Actually, it was good today. I found my shots. I was confident. The game, she played very well, but I managed to play my shots and win the game.
Okay, well, it's your first time in Namibia, I think. And just tell us how you're liking it here. How's the weather being so far away from home?
The weather is too hot, first. And that's my first time. I like it, so maybe it's not the last time.
Well, speaking of your ranking, world ranking, where do you stand right now?
103. Yeah.
Well, there you had it, Mena herself. But all in all, how excited are you for the tournament? First time in Namibia, you still have more games to play. Yeah, how are you enjoying yourself?
I'm so excited. Hopefully I can take the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there you heard it from Mena herself, ranked first at the competition here. You heard her 103rd ranking that is, which is really, really high. And we have the privilege of having her here in Namibia, playing right in front of us. I'm pretty honored to just have having talked to her right now. Well, that's all that I have for you now. Do stay tuned as we do try and get you more interviews.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends, 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering, every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex gel.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, you've taken the first step. Grow for it with Stamino Grow. 5-in-1 supplement available at all leading pharmacies.
NAMRAD strives to provide the best radiological care. We keep up to date with new technology, and with our state-of-the-art department, all radiology services are provided at one convenient location. You can find them at Lady Pohamba Private Hospital, corner of Frankie Fredericks and Umbika Street, Kleine Cooper, Windhoek.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, you've taken the...
Okay, well, we are joined by Dene. Dene, sê gou vir ons wat was die game teen Mena?
Dat was baie lekker. Sy's 'n baie goeie speler. So ek het 'n bietjie gesukkel teen haar. En dis 'n ander soos game hierso, die bal vinnig. So ek het 'n bietjie gesukkel om gewoon te raak, maar ja, dit was baie lekker om teen haar te speel.
Okay, hoe voel dit om teen mense te speel wat nooit die land uit kom? I mean, ons het professionals wat nou hier is, exposure vir julle. Hoe goed is dit vir jouself?
Dis 'n groot voorreg. Ek meen ons almal wil daar speel, so om teen hulle te speel en gewoon te raak aan soos die level waar hulle speel, en dis is inspirerend en motiverend om met hulle te speel.
Okay, ek glo jy nog 'n paar wedstryde oor. Ons het nog hele donderdag, Vrydag, Saterdag. Wat kan ons nog van jou af verwag?
Ek weet nie, ek het vandag nog agter my gesit. So van nou af gaan ek dit gaan en my beste speel en kyk hoeveel ek kan wen.
Dankie Dene.
Baie dankie.
Well, that's Dene who took on the girl who is ranked first here at the tournament. But you guys should stay tuned. We still have more games and more interviews coming your way.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears. All your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends. 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
It's Donnie Boysen back with you here from the wondrous squash courts in Windhoek. You're watching action in the BDO Namibian Open for 2023. Up next in this match will be Max Njala. He's Namibia's #1, ranked 15th in the pro section of this competition, playing with against Keinde Temitope. Excuse me. He's from Nigeria, ranked 2nd in this competition. With me now, taking the place of Stephen Berry, is Andy Fourie, quite a younger player, but very involved with the sport of squash. And I think we're going to see a humdinger up next.
Yes, Donnie, I think it's going to be a good show today and the rest of the weekend. Hoping Max does some wonders for Wanderers Squash.
Yeah, it's a great competition. First time ever pro level at the Namibian Open Championship. And another bit of history. First time NTV, Network TV, is broadcasting squash as well. Since in the couple of years we've been going. So we hope to do more of this. And of course that big one next week, starting on the 25th, 4-nation test series. So that will be Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and who's the fourth one? I can't remember offhand. We'll check that for you. But another country, so some more great squash coming to you next week again here from the same court. And like Stephen said previously, during this broadcast, they call it a squash festival due to the great matches and of course competition also for the Namibian players here. Oh, they're warming up still there. So that's Max Njala closest to the screen here in the white and blue. He's warming up. He's playing for Namibia. Warming up together with Namibia's top-ranked junior player. And Tony, it's good also to see the young players very involved here at the tournament, even though they might not be playing yet. Because it's a chance for them also to meet top-level players, likes from Egypt, Nigeria, and elsewhere.
100%, Donnie. Yeah, we've been struggling here a bit with our juniors. We definitely need to start pushing squash and promoting it a lot more. And these events is exactly what we need. And this is really going to get the interest back into squash. And then hopefully we can send some stronger teams overseas and to South Africa whenever we play these PSA events. It would be nice to send some stronger teams.
And Stephen said earlier that if they could get squash into schools in Namibia, that would make also a huge difference in terms of developing and getting more players involved, because the more players you have, the better chance you have of getting, really top players that can compete at the next level.
Yeah, that's the competition that we need to build with each other and really get some decent squash players out of Namibia.
You're still looking at the warm-up here for the final match on the BDO court. This is the BDO court. 4 courts, of course, here at Wanderers. It's the Vision court, Sanlam court. This one, BDO, and then Papkewitz also. So also sponsors are crucial, I think, in any sport, obviously, but especially in smaller sports to help them get to the next level.
Oh, 100%, yes. And especially with non-team sports, it's always a lot more difficult to get spectators down. And obviously there's a lot less of us. So it is always nice to have some great sponsors and really help promote the squash.
So yes, I think sport in general in Namibia can always do with more support from sponsors. It's also a chance to see your name in the highlight as a business. And we earlier mentioned the long struggle of squash to get into the Olympic Games, but it's being played on Commonwealth level, the Asian, there's an Asian Cup, Pan American Cup. I see there will be again also a World Championship quite soon. After some years, I think it's been quite a long break from that. And I think the idea for the local association, Tony, is also to build on this. So I know they're already aiming to even get more international players next year to take part in the Open year.
I really hope so, because even from last year, it was absolutely wonderful seeing top players from all over, even South Africa, Mr. Dierwald. Wow, what a class player. It was really a privilege to have people like that playing on our courts, and for us to learn and for our juniors to see. It's really something out of this world.
I must say that I love this. Squash is not a sport I played, actually.
Okay.
Maybe just a little tiny bit at high school. And I watched it sometimes on TV on top level, which is obviously brilliant. And this is a very good quality of games we're seeing here in Namibia as well now.
Yeah, for sure. You can just see in general, just a decade back, I mean, how often did you ever get to see squash on DSTV? That was very rare. Now you see it occurring more and more. Every other weekend you always see a few games on, which is really good for the sport.
And this match set to start at 6:15. If you just tuned in, we brought you 3 matches this afternoon since 4 o'clock. All of them won in straight sets so far. First one, Marianne Ashraf from Egypt. She beat Adri Lambert from Namibia. And then the South African Damian Groenewald beat Lehigu van Rooyen, also from Namibia. And then it was Mena Walid. She's from Egypt, and she played against Danae van Sail, now playing for South Africa, but she spent a couple of years here in Namibia. If you just joined us, we already saw on our social media channels some very good positive comments, also supporting specific players, because the South African players and, the Nigerians, the Egyptians, they can also watch this online. Is the place they can follow their favorite players. You see there to the left on your screen there, the well-known sport reporter from the Namibian newspaper, Helge Schutz, a veteran of all sports. So the media also here, NBC streaming this as well. So a lot of interest from the media as well, which gives that extra exposure, don't you think, Tony?
Oh, 100%. It really, really helps. And it's just so good for our sports. Being in Namibia. Obviously, there's not as many people around, so to get everyone together and get these top guys down here in Namibia is really fun and really enjoyable for all of us. And it's so nice that it's being broadcasted. Listening, driving to work, listening to the radio, hearing it on the radio, gets you really excited for these kinds of tournaments.
Yes, you can also catch this broadcast on NDR, that is Namibia Digital Radio, online. You can find it on the internet, and you'll find this commentary there as well, so really available globally. If you have internet, you can follow the BDO Namibian Open 2023. We saw now that Njala and his warm-up partner came off of the court now. So not long now before they will toss here for the start. Now tossing is actually not tossing, they spin the racket and then determine which player will serve first. If you're new to the sport, we tell you again, they play to 11 points. That's a set. If they are drawn, or actually if they're 10 each already, they must win with 2 points. So then to win, you'll have to get 12. Playing over 5 sets. Best out of 5 sets. And like I say, straight sets in the first 3 we've broadcasted. Do you maybe think we're going to see one going maybe 4 or 5 in the next match? Or do you think the Nigerian will be too strong here?
I really hope we can at least pull one game. At least one. And I really think we've got a good chance. We really do with Max. He's definitely one of our fittest players. Training lunchtimes, afternoons. So I really think it's our best bet right now to at least pull one game.
So, Tony, tell people a bit more about yourself and how did you get involved in squash?
Okay, well, basically I'm from Cape Town. Always played tennis, but you know, with Cape Town wins, you don't always get to play every day. And eventually, when I was about 9 years old, they needed a few fill-ins for the squash team. And they pulled a couple of the tennis guys across and asked them would they play, and I started playing, and that was that. New favorite sport. Still carried on with everything else, but squash definitely took the lead. And from there, being quite young, I did manage to build quite a decent career. Did quite well as a junior, but unfortunately injuries took me out for a while. So it's nice to be back again a few years later. Hopefully I can still show the people that I can play squash.
Tony's involved behind the scenes with the ranking and other tasks, and often, you know, a sport is just as good as its management and administration. We've seen it with some other Namibian sports who's struggling to get back on its feet, almost there for some of them. So thanks to I think to everyone involved with Namibian squash. I think a tournament like this shows the good work you are doing.
Oh no, for sure. They really have been doing well. Our committee has really stepped up their game, and they are pushing hard to really get some decent sponsors, good prize money, and obviously with prize money that brings in the international players. And the more international players that come here, the better we're going to get, just by watching, playing. So we really appreciate our committee and all the hard work they've done behind the scenes, like you say, and just getting these tournaments going.
Max Njala still warming up there here on the BDO court. It's ranked 15th in the PSA division of this competition. That is top level. P stands for professional. And if you're only joining us now, that is like the tennis professionals. That is the level. So some of these players are ranked also internationally. They compete internationally. And we're still waiting now to see Njala's opponent, Kehinde Temitope from Nigeria. I don't know if he's possibly warming up on another court. I see Njala is having a look at his watch there, maybe getting a bit impatient. And now we see the opponent there in view. Temitope from Nigeria. He's also still warming up a bit now. According to the usual procedure, each player has 5 minutes to warm up on each side of the court, and then they will switch over and have another 5 minutes to warm up. Maybe they'll stretch it a bit shorter, make it a bit shorter. I don't know why Temitope came late, but probably delayed for very good reasons. As physically, if one looks at the two players, Njala looks a bit stronger physically, but of course in squash, if you're small, you're nimble, and you can be faster, just like in any other sport. Tony here with me is also a bit of a smaller fellow, which will make you quicker. Did you play any other sports?
Before high school, I obviously enjoyed many sports. So I played my rugby, my cricket, tennis, squash. I enjoyed my karate. But obviously trying to take squash seriously later on when I got to high school, you obviously have to drop the other sports to push your main sport. And I did have a bursary, so I had to really push on the squash. And that's when I really started training very hard. So unfortunately, I had to stop all the other sports to avoid any injuries.
Yeah, it's always a pity, especially if a player has talent. And me being the novice, as soon as the play starts, I'll hit the ball in the court of Tony Fourie. With the ins and outs, he will then take over, be a bit more in the forefront. But I'm looking forward to this one. And the tempo one could already see, with the Egyptian players in the ladies' professional division here. They're very quick, they're very fit. Obviously with us players in Namibia, having to do it after hours, during the weekends, fitness and conditioning is, I think, always going to be something that we're going to lag behind full professionals.
Yeah, of course. If we obviously still have our daytime jobs, it is very difficult to get in the correct training that we need. But we're definitely trying our best, and I think Max is definitely going to show the best of us. He is really the fittest by far, so I really think he can give in a good game and a good fight for this match.
Yeah, he is Namibia's number 1 ranked player. That is Max Njala to your left.
And definitely one of the nicest guys on court too.
No,
he's an excellent human being. Really, really fantastic chap. Really, really.
But a question to you now. I mean, we remember the legendary days of the John McEnroes of this world.
Yes,
and
of course.
I think there might still be some tough characters on the tennis scene, at least. Are squash players in general, more behaved and respectful of the rules of the game?
I would like to say yes. Back in the day when I was a bit better, I must say I was probably one of the worst. But later on you do learn to grow up. But yes, I know you do get into quite a bit of trouble showing off and doing silly things. So you do get game bans, etc. So you really do have to try represent your country in the most fashionable as you can.
Yeah, so we see they've turned over now with the warm-up. So Njala moved to the right side of the court there. Also hitting a bit to each other there. So the clock is ticking away. This will be an interesting match. Don't move an inch. Stay where you are. If you're quick, you might be able to to run to the fridge quickly to get some refreshments. And please join Namibia here at the Wanderers Squash Club in Windhoek tomorrow morning again. Action starts already at 9:30 here, all the way until 7 o'clock, 7:30 the evening, the last matches to take place. And also then on Friday, same thing, starting at 9 o'clock, ending at about 8 o'clock in the evening. And on Saturday, final play-off matches starting at 7 in the morning already. Early morning, so you will have to be an early riser. Ask your partner to kick you out of bed or ask a friend to phone you. And then the big ones, the final in the ladies PSA division will be at 4 o'clock, 1600 hours on this exact same court you see on your screen, followed by the men's final for the professionals here at 5 o'clock. Tony, thus far the matches were reasonably short, 15-20 minutes, straight sets. And as we already said, we hope we're going to see tougher competition, but also longer rallies. I think that's important in terms of measuring the quality of a match, is how long players play before someone wins the rally.
Yes, you're 100% correct there. First round is normally always highest versus a lower rank, so the games would be a little bit shorter. So definitely from second round onwards, the game time will definitely extend. The rallies will definitely become a lot longer, and then we'll see the games going to 35 to an hour quite easily, especially with people like Max.
Seen there from the stands here at the Wanderers Squash Court. Players are back now there. And the last match of this afternoon on the BDO court, it's the Namibian Open Champs.
Level engaged, Max to serve, level.
To start shortly. And Njala to serve first. Still feeling each other out here. First ball of this match. And Tony, we're already seeing a longer rally compared to the previous matches. From the word go already here. And it's the Nigerian taking the lead there. First point, first set.
Yeah, Max is one of those players. He likes to first test you out, make sure he's warm. He'll always run the first 3-4 points. He's going to try to push these rallies to get his fitness lacquer there.
2-1.
Both players quite tall, those long legs obviously. If you're shorter, you have to run faster. Fewer strides if you're taller. Score now in Njala's favor, 2-1. So quick 2 points there for the Namibian. And a miss hit also there from Temitope from Nigeria. Just a correction there, it seems it's 2 each now. I thought there was only 1 point there. And after a good start, things starting now to get a bit scrappy.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of the nerves as well kicking in. So I think we just have to get through till at least 5-6 points and then I think we're going to start going nicely.
And now 3-all.
A few silly mistakes from both players.
Three each now, the score there, even Stevens all level in the first set. Almost there for Njala, just not getting to it. The point there for Temitope taking the lead now with 4-3.
Hand out 4 each.
Four each now again. Of the matches we broadcasted on NTV here, Tony, definitely one where, you know, it's 1 point for you, 1 point for me. Players at this stage very close. We'll have to see, you know, if someone pulls away on the scoreboard. Tony says yes, that's indeed what we'll have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I really think this is going to be a really nice game, but we'll see after this first one how it goes from there.
Njala in the lead again now, the 1-pointer, 5-4. Just for those watching, also you'll see that players, as soon as they've gone forward or backwards on the court, they'll try to get back to the center. That's the best position from which to be ready for the next shot.
Yeah, you'll see the best players will always be standing on the tee, and the guys that look like they're moving the least are normally the ones that are the best players. They make everything look very effortless.
So it's the Namibian Njala pulling ahead slightly there, 2 points.
Getting in those crucial points.
6-5 now, that point awarded to Temitope from Nigeria. Keeping it there close to the wall. Then the change of direction there from Njala.
Hand out 6-all.
6-all. If we get to 10-all, they'll have to play until one player wins with a clear 2 points advantage before the set will be awarded.
Hand out 7-6.
And there's moments in this match, Tony, I think, you know, it heats up a bit, longer rallies, and then it slows down a bit with points awarded quicker.
Yeah, the heart rates are definitely moving up, and there's a few silly mistakes by both players at the moment. I'm sure that will slowly disappear later on in the match.
Temitope back in the lead now, 2 points. He'll try to stretch that lead to take the first set.
That was a critical point there by Temitope. Looks like they've just awarded a let.
Njala getting in some good shots here in this rally. Of course, you try to get the guy into the corner and then chase him out so that he doesn't get to the ball fast enough. Both these players very nimble on the court here. This rally still going. It's the best rally we've had in this match. Yo.
Fantastic.
Loud applause now, yeah. Loud applause for the Namibian player.
That was a critical point for Max to get that one, just to have a 1 point difference.
He's closing the gap now, 7-8. 1 point behind Temitope, 7-8.
9-6. Hand up, 7-9.
Njala, they're giving a point away again. See if they can get a good rally going again. Yep.
Excellent shot there.
There's a term for that when you hit the ball into the corner. Stephen,
yes, we call it a nick.
A nick.
Yes, that's correct. That's the best shot you can play and the best feeling you'll ever get from any shot in squash.
Thanks, Tony. That's Tony Fourie with me here on Network TV. Also the Facebook page of Sport Rap, and of course Namibia Digital Radio. 9-8 now to the 1 point lead for the Nigerian.
Very, very well played there by Kahinda.
9-all.
9 each. Still very close now. The rally not getting going there. 10-9 now, the 1 point lead for Temitope. That was set point. So they're coming out 10-9 in the favor of Temitope against Max Njala, the player from Namibia. So, I mean, that is as close as you can probably get unless you have to play past the 11, Tony.
Yeah, nobody really wants to go past that because you already pushed your lungs to the maximum once you get to 9, and then if you both get to 10, it is quite demoralizing knowing that you have to still win by 2 more points, and it really can be tough.
I'm sure we're going to see a brilliant second set, as good and possibly even better. I hope the game gets a bit more flowing in the second set, but we'll have to see. We're taking a short break. We'll be back shortly.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends, 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Welcome back to our second set. Now waiting in this match, PSA professional level here, Namibia's Max Njala just losing out there on the first set against Temitope. He is from Nigeria. We just tuned in. A good match so far. Expecting a lot of action here in the second set.
Yeah, I think the nerves of both players should be out now, and we're really going to see the potential of both players in the second game.
What a nick.
One love.
Yeah, I think this game Max is definitely going to have to try slow it down a little bit, get the ball a bit deeper. In the first game he was definitely hitting a lot shorter than normal. Maybe try to take off the pace and lift it a bit more just to get that possession. But we'll see what his game plan is as we progress.
Well, Njala here with the first point, and he makes it 2-love, second set.
And out, Ronald.
Scoreboard there. The official one actually says it's 2-1 now in favor of Temitope. Query there.
No late, 3-1.
By Gende Temitope. 3-1 now the lead. So Njala started here with a very good point in this set. Trying to get back into it now.
Definitely some better squash there from Max. Great little drop there. We can also see Temitope definitely struggling a little bit with his shots and shot selection. You can definitely see the normal shots he normally plays are not going in right now. So maybe it's the altitude affecting him. Maybe still a bit of the nerves, but I'm sure we're going to see him getting in some really great winners later on in this match.
I didn't call a let there.
Yeah, Mr. Njala is not someone that likes playing lets and strokes. He really enjoys playing the game and not bothering too much about a let or a stroke unless it is really necessary, and that's what makes it so enjoyable for me playing someone like a Max.
For the novices, when you call a let, it means you suspect you were obstructed and you're asking there with the referee to make a call, a decision. And if there's not a referee, the players on court actually decides it for themselves, Stephen. So I guess that can sometimes maybe become a heated argument.
It can really become that, so that's why on these top events we always try to get some of our best referees just to make sure that there's no funny business.
Yeah, good referees. The referees did extra courses here in Namibia also to be able to officiate at the PSA level, the professional level. It's all skills that's staying in Namibia.
And refereeing is no easy task because everyone sees it differently.
I think it's like that in each sport. And Njala now back in this 6-4. 2 points in the lead.
Yeah, the rallies have not been as extended as what I would have expected. They're definitely making a few more mistakes than usual.
That was a brilliant return there from Njala, and then he's just beaten finally here at the back by Temitope. We had that very long rally in the first set and not as long a rally in the second yet. And big applause there again for Njala. Making it 8-5 now, 3-point lead in the second set for the Namibian.
crucial stage of the game right now, and this is really where you can gain a lot. So if Mr. Max can get these next few points, really makes it a lot easier when in the closing stages of this game.
He's on game ball now, and Jala can win the set.
Sammy leads 2 games to love.
And we'll just make sure with our scorekeepers here that scoreboard is the correct reflection. It's definitely 11-5 there. Shot there of the spectators. They've gotten more and more throughout the late afternoon. Some people obviously can only come around here to the Wanderers Squash Club after work. So the correction for you there, our apologies. Our scorekeepers got it the wrong way around there. So 11-5, the winning margin in the second set. Inde Temitope from Nigeria. We'll be taking a short break as well. See you now.
NAMRAD strives to provide the best radiological care. We keep up to date with new technology, and with our state-of-the-art department, all radiology services are provided at one convenient location. You can find them at Lady Pohamba Private Hospital, corner of Frankie Fredericks and Umbika Street, Kleine Cooper, Windhoek.
We're back live. You're watching the final match of this evening in the BDO Namibia Open National Championship. This third set now between Namibia's Max Njala. He's playing against Inde Temitope from Nigeria. And almost a close contest, yes, almost Njala getting the first set in the bag. Bit of a larger margin in the second. So we hope the Namibian can fight back, win a set to get back in here. The shot there is out. Hit the board. I think, Tony, it's always, I think also in any sport, there's a bit of extra jitters, when you come up against, players that are, internationally well ranked.
Oh, yes, yeah. Us as Namibians, we obviously don't get to play as many PSA events. I myself have not actually played any, to be honest. And I'm not too sure how many Max has played. This could be his first as well. And it's just great to see first of many to come, I'm sure.
I'm sure as well. The only way to start is to start, and that's the same way with everything in life. 5-0 now, the lead for Temitope.
And keep in mind,
Njala,
Max isn't a lighty anymore. He is over 40 now. And he did start playing squash at a very late age, unfortunately. And I would love to know what kind of a squash player he would have been if he had started as a junior and not in his 30s.
He still looks in very good condition. He is the Namibian top-ranked player. Almost caught out Temitope there. Gets the return in as well. And then things going awry there.
Yeah, we're really seeing the class now of the Nigerian player.
Unforced error there by Temitope. Gives Njala another point. Into the corner, along to the back there by Njala. Still some fighting spirit here in the Namibian player. Bit unlucky there. Njala shakes the head. It was close score.
Yeah, being pushed into a corner a bit. Really getting pressurized here in this third game. Hopefully he can try slow it down a little bit. Or hit excellent winners like that.
And now 3-7.
There's big applause here for that shot. Njala serves.
4-7.
Also returns here. Is this the fight back we were waiting for?
No, he hit his racket.
Play really stuttering at the moment.
Wait, what happened? What?
There's a call there.
Who hit him?
Seems it's a leg call there by Temitope. Let's see what was the referee's decision there, final decision on that shot. 7-4 now, 3-point lead for Temitope. Plays on again. Njala reached there to get to that ball.
Njala pushing really hard to try to keep up in this one.
Much better rally here as well. Slowing things down a bit there, Njala. Playing cat and mouse, then the change of direction.
Both players moving really nicely. Definitely the best rally of this game.
Excellent rally there. Point finally going to Temitope.
Namibia is really going to have to push hard now if he wants to try to get this final game. Try to get it into 4 sets.
And applause now there. And a smile from Temitope. 5, another point to the Namibian, trailing with 3 again.
Excellent there from Mr. Njala. Slowly creeping closer and closer.
Let's see if Temitope tries to finish this off now.
This is where the mental game really comes into squash. Once you're getting to that 8-9 points, that's when it's really tough and you cannot make any mistakes like Max has just done.
And it's just like Njala did there, he also showed it. One can see that emotion there. Now a 3-point lead. for the Nigerian. But he loses the point there. 9-7 now. Njala creeping back into this match. You want to get this point. If Temitope gets it, it will be set and match point up next.
And 10-7 match ball.
But it's with Temitope, and indeed he can make it the match winner here.
But just great for Namibians to actually get to see squash like this, and for us to actually play these top players.
Hard hit there by Njala.
And 18 match
Temitope
ball.
standing behind him. And hitting the ball back. Njala pulling back another point there. 10-8 now. Lovely rally again. Oh, great shots here. And it's Njala winning that point. It brings him within one now.
Excellent fetching there from Mr. Njala.
9-10.
Really showing the spirit of squash and not giving up.
Yeah,
Excellent to see.
It is turning out to be a great match, this. A bit static at times, but some lovely rallies as well. And that's the set and the match. Good spirit there from the two players, giving each other a hug. 11-9, 11-5, 11-9. So a good fight put up by Max Njala. The Namibian, but the match goes to Kende Temitope from Nigeria. He moves on to the next round in the professional level. Njala will take part further in the A-level competition for men. And it was lovely to have you with us, Tony.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was great to be here.
Final word on the first day of the BDO Namibian Open.
Excellent squash, well run. I must say it's so good to see a turnout like this on a weekday. I can't say I've ever seen that in Namibia before at any other tournament so far.
It's time for us here at least to say goodbye. It seems we won't be bringing you back with interviews there from the court. We'll be back on NTV and our other platforms tomorrow, same time. So tune in again for some excellent squash.
Well, we are joined by Samuel all the way from Nigeria. Samuel, the first round started off really slow for you. I think you were very composed. But just tell us, how was this match today with Max Njala?
Yeah, it's a well-welcoming match. I had the opportunity to learn my mistake because actually we arrived yesterday and I think we're still starting to acclimatize with the weather. So it's been really tough playing in this condition, coming all the way from Nigeria. You know the weather condition in Nigeria, so much different from this. So I'm finding it very difficult to cope here, but at the same time, I just had to pull my head through. and I made sure I kind of composed my game as one of the top seeded players.
Okay, well, you were talking about you lost your first seed 2 weeks ago. Can you just tell us what happened there and how do you feel coming to Namibia and winning your game against Max Njala?
I think I feel good, but it's not been easy to just lose the number 1 spot, though I've been withholding it for a long time. But I have a lot of competition in Nigeria as well, which we're all number 1. We do fight for the position together. And it's been really tough. Before coming to Namibia, I still actually won a PSA close satellite tournament in Nigeria, but defeating the current number 1. But then it's still a move for us to do better. And that's what we are trying to put on the show here in Namibia, to come play different hands and foreigner. So we could possibly gain more experience and exposure and subsequently improve in world ranking, because this is a the PSA ranking tournament.
Okay, well, last question for me. You are here in Namibia. What can Namibians expect from you in the coming days in this tournament?
I think Namibia should root for the best. I know how fantastic a player I am, and as one of the top seeded players as well, I'm trying to put all my effort to make sure I come successful in this tournament. Hopefully I take it home and give the glory to Nigeria and everybody who has supported me. I don't mind the Namibian guys too supporting me for the glory. It all works hand in hand. And I will be glad to get the whole support I've needed and make sure I put in all my effort to win the tournament.
Okay, thank you for your time, Samuel.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, there you heard it from the man himself. That was Samuel, who just gave us a beautiful update of what was happening here. We will try to get to Max Njala. I'm sure he's still busy recovering from that big bench that we just had. But from me, it is all that I have for now.